All right. Gave it about a minute. It's 11:01. So this is the 2,000 subscriber Ask Me Anything question and answer. Thank you very much for joining. And the intent of this video is to answer any questions that you have about jump rope, fitness, anything like that. And why I'm doing this video is to express my gratitude for you subscribing to the channel and supporting all this time. It's been almost 2 years since I started this channel. I think the first video was uploaded December 27th, 2018. So it's been a really great learning experience being on YouTube and developing that skill set, and also more importantly being able to share the knowledge and share all the stuff that I've learned about jump rope with everybody else. So I appreciate that opportunity, and feel free to ask any questions. The way that this one works, if this is your first time, I think this is like the second or third one, is you just type in, there's a chat box over to the right. You just chat, and you just type in your questions on the chat box, and then I'll answer them verbally on here, or I might type them to the side, but most of the time I'll just answer them on here. And what I'll do is I'll stay on until 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then I'll sign off. And I forgot to mention also, I do have a ebook. I have it in PDF form. And so anybody who joins today is eligible to get a copy emailed to them. What you can do to be eligible to get the book emailed to you for free is to ask at least one question in the chat. You can you have to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and then share the YouTube channel with someone in your family or one of your friends. And once you've done that, and I'll just take your word for it, once you've done that, you can send me an email, because I don't think you want to put your email here on the live chat. You can send an email to that address, and then I will email you the free ebook. It's an ebook about intermittent fasting that I wrote probably about a year ago. And it's all the strategies that I use to lose it was around like 30, 35 pounds and lower my cholesterol by, I think it was 80 something. Yeah, it's been a long time now. That was in 2018. It's been quite some time. After I'd done all that is when I started this channel, this jump rope veteran. So go ahead, feel free to ask any questions. I'll just stand by. Big Tac, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, probably. That's a good question. I'll read the questions out loud. That's a good question. Do you think my ropes would snap outside today? It's like 10 degrees here. Yeah, probably. I haven't been using any of my PVC ropes because I live in Michigan now, and it's been way too cold because I work out in a garage. My garage is detached from my house, and so I haven't been using any of my PVC ropes at all. And that's where the ropes like the RX Smart Gear rope comes in handy. Any steel rope or metal rope like that, Elite SRS, like the Elite SRS Bullet Comp, that comes in handy. The Title rope, all that, all those ropes are good, especially for cold weather because they work real well. But the PVC rope, it might snap in half. So that's a great question. It's probably like 30 degrees, 30 degrees here. And yeah, but the cold is different up here than it is anywhere else I've lived. I've mostly lived on the East Coast and the Mid Atlantic, and I've lived in the Southeast. And it would get this cold here, but the cold is a lot different up here in Detroit. That's definitely an advantage that I've seen to the steel ropes, the metal ropes, because they can you can handle them in the cold weather too. Can you talk about how you first got started on YouTube? Yeah, that's a great question. YouTube is, I've always thought that YouTube was only for, I didn't think that anybody could do it. I've been watching YouTube, I think, since I was in college. So it's been years. Now, I thought that, I don't know why I thought that normal people couldn't do it. And I think that one day I was talking to my entrepreneurship, maybe it was that entrepreneurship professor or something, but I started doing some research on YouTube in 2018 and realized that, I mean, it would take a lot of work, but you can get on YouTube and you can post videos and people watch them. And that was the whole premise of it. I just didn't really understand YouTube until then. And so I was just researching it and trying to figure out if I could do it or not. Once I got comfortable thinking that my jump rope skills were good enough, I started uploading. My first upload was on December 27th, 2018. It was the 300 double unders in a row. I think yeah, that's the video that it was. And that was just a simple video from my phone that I put up. There was no editing or anything like that. And then it just went from there. And then I realized that it was a great way to connect with other people and share different tutorials and everything. So I got up and started looking at different creators. I think the person that I started as far as mentorship and trying to figure out how to do YouTube, I think that Sunny Leonard Doozy was the first person. Her videos are really helpful. And I had, at that point in time, I had an hour commute. I was driving from Fort Lee, Virginia, all the way up to the northwest side of Richmond in an area called Short Pump. And I just would put on, some days I would listen to podcasts mostly, but some days I would put on her videos, and it'd be like 4 or 5 videos over the hour drive one way. And I would just listen and try to remember everything and then write down the things and then just try to apply those principles and those tutorials and all the information that she put out for free on her YouTube channel. And I just would, that's how really it got started. And then I think that the first real video I shot was in January 2019. And that's after I had gotten Adobe Premiere Pro and I just started getting more comfortable with editing and watching tutorials about that. And so you can see with YouTube, there's a lot of other skills that you can build upon. I mean, there's video editing, there's camera, knowledge about camera, stuff like that. And that's kind of a long story about it. With the videos, I never really focused on trying to make them these spectacular editing projects or anything like that. I just focused more on making sure that they were good enough from a quality and editing standpoint. But my main focus was always the quality of the information that was being put out rather than the having not so great information or biased information or information that wouldn't help people, but having a great editing video as far as editing goes, with a lot of jump cuts and stuff like that. And I think if you want to get started on YouTube, whatever you're trying to do, I think that's the main thing to focus on, is the quality, making your quality good enough to where your audio, and I've had problems with the audio before, but to where your audio and your video are good enough to where people aren't going to get frustrated and immediately click away. I'm still trying to work on that, but making sure that the information that you're delivering is going to be valuable to the people that are watching. So that's always my focus on this channel, is to make sure that the information I'm delivering, people will find it valuable. And I watch my videos a lot, and I think to myself, would I watch this video? Would I watch this video all the way through? And if not, why not? And then I try to make the fixes. I like the impartiality of your reviews. I find them the most informative. Yeah, I really appreciate that comment. Thank you. I actually didn't get started with the reviews until February of last year. No, of this year, actually. That was my first review. And my first review was the Rush Athletics Money Row. And I think that review, if you haven't seen it or you have seen it, that review, I think it's my most popular video. I think it has around like 15,000 views or something like that, which is definitely way more views than most of my videos have. And I think that video might have caused a little bit of controversy on a small scale because people disagreed with the review and all that stuff. But that's fine. Disagreeing and agreeing, it's fine whatever route you take. I think that as far as the reviews go, like I was saying earlier, it's more about me just sharing my experience with the rope and then researching the rope, looking at how much it costs, the value that it delivered to me. And I'm just talking about my personal experiences because everybody's different. And that's another reason why I don't really that's the one reason I had a rope for a while, and I still use the rope that I had worked with buyjumpropes.net to make, and it was a simple process. They just changed the color scheme on the Elite SRS Pro, and I don't sell those anymore. I think I had like 25 of them. I kept around 4 or 5 for myself, and then I sold the other 20 and then donated 10% to, I can't remember who I donated it to, but it was to a veterans organization. And that's why I don't have my own rope, because if I had my own rope, then I don't think that anybody would necessarily believe the reviews that I was coming across with. There are YouTubers that will review products and they have their own product and they've been able to make it work. But for me, I wanted to be able to just bring unbiased information. And it's going to be really difficult for anybody who's selling thousands of their own rope to review someone else's rope, right? They might be able to still do it, but it might make them less credible. But as far as starting with the reviews, it was my friend Colin, who I've known for a long time. He has a brilliant business mind, and he and I were talking about my channel one day over email, and he said, "Hey man, you gotta consider doing some reviews. I think people would enjoy that." And I had never thought about doing reviews before for some reason. It shows the value of getting feedback from other people and being open to the feedback, because his analysis of my channel, it was, I mean, he said he was kind when he said it, but he was like, you should probably work on this, you should work on this, this is good, I think this is good. And he was just giving me information, and he was being completely honest with me. And that was one of the major feedback points that he gave. And he actually was the one that came up with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jump rating. He didn't come up with the rating criteria, but he came up with the, you know how I say in a review, I give this rope a 4 out of 5 jumps or a 5 out of 5 jumps. That was his idea, actually. And I just kind of took it and ran with it. So and now reviews have become arguably the most popular video category on my channel. So you can see how it doesn't even have to do with a YouTube channel or jumping rope or anything like that. Anything in your life, if you have somebody who is proven to be a smart person and who will give you a 100% honest opinion, ask them for feedback. Feedback is a real gift, whether it's what you want to hear or not. But most of the time, the feedback that you get, the most valuable feedback is the feedback that might be uncomfortable to hear. Do you think you could get Buddy Lee on your podcast? He seems approachable. I emailed his company a question in the fall, and he wrote me back personally. Yeah, I could reach out to him. I've talked to him before, and I've met him before. He's a very talented guy. Actually seeing him do what he does in person is a lot more impressive than watching it on video. And he's in his early 60s and he still moves really well. So I'll reach out to him. That's a good action to take. Yeah, I'll reach out to him and see if he'll do it. He's probably pretty busy guy, but I can definitely reach out to him for sure. Great idea. Thank you for that. The man selling the rope is impressive, but the money rope is mediocre. Yeah, I agree. And that's actually a really good point, is that I had a comment on that same review, actually, the money rope review, where the person, and this is his opinion, which is fine. And he said, "Oh, I think your review is biased, and I don't think that it's negative and all that," which is fine if he thinks that way. But what you have to remember, what I try to remember with different jump ropes out there and reviews and stuff like that, is that you got to be able to separate the product from what the person is doing. So let's take Rush Athletics, for instance. He was one of the first people that I saw when I started learning how to jump rope back in 2018, and I watched a lot of his tutorials. And as a result, I think I ended up buying 2 of his ropes. One I still have, which is the red one that I reviewed, and one broke within like 3 months. But that was back when I didn't know much about jump rope. But what I'm saying is that his product, I don't think it's a good product, and I think it's too expensive. But that doesn't take away from his jumping ability and his tutorials, which I think are great. And I'll be the first person to say that, is that his tutorials have nothing to do with his rope. His rope might not be great, in my opinion, and in probably a lot of other people's opinions. Some people might disagree with that, but his tutorials are top notch, and that's probably why he has a large audience and he's been able to do the things that he's doing, because he puts a lot of time into the tutorials and he knows what he's talking about. I mean, I think I learned trying to think, the double under crossover. I had no idea what that move even was until I saw him do it. And then the running crossover and the double under crossover, those two moves I learned from watching his tutorials for the most part. What kind of brand type rope can you suggest to get a good start for a beginner? I have a PVC rope and speed rope with bearings, but both have lack of feedback for me. That's a great question. And I should probably do a video about the best ropes for beginners, but I think that the best rope that you want to get is probably something like the Punk Rope basic rope. It's like $9, and it has short handles, and it has a 5mm PVC cord. I'll type in the website. That's the website there. And they're a good company. They're not overcharged. I don't think they're overcharging for their products or anything like that. And they actually, a lot of the way that they make money is by teaching jump rope. So you can't really teach jump rope very well if you don't have a good beginner jump rope in your inventory. So I think that a 5mm PVC short handle rope is the best thing to start off with. Now, another good beginner rope, but that's more expensive, is the Crossroad Get Lean. That's like $99 though. So if you, I would say invest in that only if you're sure that you're gonna continue to jump. But if you're not sure about it and you're gonna spend some serious coin on that, on $99, that's a good amount of money for most people, then don't buy that. Buy a cheaper rope like the Punk Rope. So I'd say either the Punk Rope basic rope or the Crossroad Get Lean if you're looking to spend more money, or money's just not really an issue for you. But that was a great question, Alex. Mel Mendez, who else will you be interviewing on the podcast? Yeah, that's a good question. Buddy Lee, that's a possibility, I think, that Tic Tac brought up. And also, if you search on Instagram for Jump Rope Gal, I'm in the works of getting her on the podcast as well, because she's very knowledgeable, and I would say an expert at this point in jump rope. She also has a large audience, and she has a kind of a different style of jump rope. It's a lot more trick oriented, which is great, and she does some pretty incredible things with jump rope. So I think that she's a potential next guest. And if you have any ideas, definitely put them down, because I need to do better at probably asking people to tune in and planning further ahead. I just have a lot of projects going on, and also with my job in the military, it's pretty involved and takes up quite a bit of my time. And so, but yeah, my friend Ryan, I knew him back when back when we were both in the 101st Airborne Division at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. He has a YouTube channel. I've been trying to it's just about intermittent fasting, though. He's lost a ton of weight in the past year with intermittent fasting. I've been working on getting him on the channel also, but he has a family, and and kids and everything. So that will definitely take your time, as it should. Those families very important. And also the creator of Rhythm Rope, I've been working to get him on the podcast, but he's also very busy developing his rope, and he also, like me, has a full-time job that he reports to as well. Yeah. But if you have any ideas about the podcast, definitely put them in the chat, and it might be people I've never even heard of before, but it'd be good to talk to them. All right, Shirt XL, Shirt, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Tina, thank you for joining, and for Shirt and Tina, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Punk Rope is a great one. Hey, what do you think about Crossroads? Yeah, Crossroads are good products. For me personally, I've had the Crossroad Get Lean and Get Strong since, I think it's been since July 2018, and I'm still using the same ones. They work real well. I think at this point I'm using them about once a week or so. I definitely use the Get Lean set a lot more. I barely use the 2 pound. I barely use the 2 pound rope. I mainly will use the quarter-pound, the half-pound, and the 1 pound at this point. I use the Bolt quite often. I use that probably once or twice a week. That's a good product. I think that's my favorite Crossroad product, is the Bolt. It's a lot cheaper, but it also has, I think that it's better for me. It's more versatile. And also the Speed LE, I have that one. That's a decent one. It's not my favorite, but that's a decent one. So I think overall, if you I think the main thing to remember about Crossrope is that you want to make sure that you're actually going to use the product. And for a lot of people, actually, if some people's mind works in a way that if I spend $100 on a jump rope, I'm going to be guaranteed to use it. If your mind works that way, then I would say that go ahead and buy one. If it's going to force you to, if you're having trouble working out and it's going to force you to go and do your workout. But if you're not like that, or you're on a tight budget, there are better options than Crossroads. They are pretty expensive. They're good ropes, good products, but they are quite expensive. And the one that they came out with, the Freestyle one, it's an okay one. It's like $25. It's okay, but it's not the greatest. They're premium products. The ones that are more expensive are probably where you want to go. Congrats on the growth of your channel. Thank you very much. Will you be offering merch in 2021? Yeah, I would. That's something I've thought about that. It's a good question. And it's difficult because I don't really want to keep too much inventory and all that. But if there's a demand for it, then definitely I'll do it. And right now we have it set up to where we can do ones and twos different. So if you wanted something like this, like what I have on, or you wanted a shirt or something like that, then you can just send an email to me, and I'll type my email in again, and we can do some kind of like personalized order for you and quote a price for you. But as far as having it set up on website and all that, probably not. But if you want something personalized like this, you can send an email to me, and we'll square your way and take care of you. That's a good question, though. Great question, Tina. Chris, have you tried the 3-ounce rope from Crossroad? Is it good for tricks? Yeah, I have that rope. It's good for the I'm trying to think about it. I mean, it's good for just regular stuff. It's not really good for tricks. Those speed ropes are good for the basic stuff. They're not good for any kind of freestyle tricks or anything like that. If you want to do any tricks, crossrope is not really the way to go if you want to do that. So overall, no. I like the 3 ounce rope. It's good, but it's not good for tricks though. Yeah. The lean and strong are pretty good. I agree with you on that. Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. Yeah, I thought about Teespring. That's a good point. I thought about Teespring. That's probably an avenue that I will go down in the future since they handle all the heavy lifting for a fee. But for what they charge, I mean, it's worth not having to deal with all the inventory and not having to go back and forth from the post office and stuff like that. That stuff just takes a lot of time. But I know that for as far as YouTube goes, when you get to 10,000 subscribers, then you have the option to put Teespring on your channel. If you've seen any channels that have a lot of subscribers, like 10,000, I think, or above, yeah, they have the deal with Teespring, and so that'll definitely be something I do once the channel gets to that point. But in the interim, yeah, Teespring is probably a good avenue for me to go down. I'm also, yeah, that's a good idea there. Thank you, Tina. Yeah, you're right, Ryan. The 2 pound rope. I mean, it's just it's a good rope, but man, it's just so cumbersome, and it just doesn't really seem like you're getting all that much out of it that you would if you use the 1 pound rope and you jump for 1 or 2 minutes straight with it. That's just for me. I like to keep moving, and that 2 pound rope. I mean, the longest I've been able to jump with the 2 pound rope is a minute, I think, and it just can't take it anymore after that. But it's a great workout though, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Hello, Pluto. Nice to see you. If you weren't here in the beginning, you can type any question you want into the chat, and I'll respond to it. Yeah, that you're right about that with the 2 pound rope. It's a rough one. It's something that I definitely don't look forward to. Normally I'll look forward to jumping, but whenever I've had the 2 pound rope involved, I'm like, oh. man, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. I mean, everyone has some degree of apprehension and not wanting to exercise, but for me, with the 2 pound rope, oof, it's a rough one. Yeah, yeah, it's really important to stay on a routine. You gotta find a time in the day to make sure that you get out there and try to get the cardio in. It's tough because once you get off of it, it's hard to get back into it. And so I definitely understand, Pluto. I've been there before, man. Yeah, that's a good idea. Putting pictures on what is available. I need to do more work on my website for sure. Mhm. Yeah, you'll lose. It's real easy to lose it. I've lost running, and so now with the weather the way it is, it's been difficult to run outside. So I ended up investing in a treadmill, which should be coming to my house shortly. And I didn't really want to spend the money to do that, but I mean, you have to find you have to find out what works for you, and then you have to create systems around it. And so, if you are someone who likes to work out more in the morning, then you gotta try to do that and set aside time. Do different things like lay out your workout clothes in the evening time, go to bed earlier, stuff like that. That's what helps. Figuring out the kind of person who you are, what works for you, and then creating systems around that. Just making it as easy as possible. No, I've never heard of the nylon rope. Nylon rope for conditioning? No, I've never heard that. I'll look it up now and see what it is. Yeah, I've never seen the nylon rope before. I don't know who makes that. You know who makes it or where you can find it? If you do, just type it in there into the chat and I'll find it. Oh yeah, the RX drag rope. Yeah, I only have one RX rope, and that's going to be actually the next video. Is the I'm going to review the Black Ops. No, that hasn't been covered, but it's a good question about the jump rope. I don't know. I think that I've gone back and forth about the different advantages and disadvantages to having my own jump rope. I think that it might get in the way of the reviews, the credibility of the reviews, but at the same time, it may not matter at this point because I have so many reviews out there and people seem to like them overall. But if I was to get a rope, I would have to, like you said, develop my own. I don't want to. So check this out. So it's like most of the time, what you're seeing on the market these days are just ropes that are made overseas, and they are branded with different people's logos, right? So if you look at, there's this one really popular one out right now that people are selling. It's got the thin handles. They they're thin in the middle, and then they curve up like that. I think Jump Rope Mom is selling them. The guy Ridge Robson, a really good champion jump roper, he's selling them, and there's several other people that are selling them. So they're getting that same rope. Is they're getting it from, well, at least I found it on Alibaba, and everyone's getting that rope, and then they're just paying somebody to, or they're putting their label on it themselves. It's the same rope. It comes with 3 attachments, the handles, and a carrying case. And tons of people, you can see people are selling it on Amazon too. So if I were to do my own rope, it would have to be more along the line of what Buddy Lee has done. He designed and put together his own rope and patented his swivel bearing and all that. Or something. So another good example is the guy who makes rhythm rope. If you haven't seen that review on my channel, check it out. He conceptualized and thought of his own design, and then he made it happen. And it's something that's unique to him. So that's the route I would have to go. And it takes more time to do that. It probably takes more money to do that. But for me, it would be more rewarding than just buying a bunch of cheap ropes, putting my label on it, and then selling it for like 15 times what I paid for it to people. That's not something. I mean, hey, business is business, and if people are doing that out there, that's fine. That's just not something I'm interested in doing. And so I'd have to take the time to research, develop, and engineer it for my own, and put together exactly the kind of rope that I want to get, and then find somebody who could build it. That's a great question, though. Thanks, Caleb. I appreciate it. Appreciate you tuning in. Okay. How can I get calves like you? That's a good, I mean, I'm sorry not to laugh at that. I don't know if, I'm trying to think of how to answer that question, because people have asked me that before. I think maybe a lot of it has to do with genetics. Not sure how much, but you got to just work out and jump rope a lot. I think that's how you do it. You gotta jump rope. I mean, I jump rope for at least probably 5 days a week for at least 30 minutes, sometimes more. But you have to, if you're not used to jumping that often, you have to work yourself up to that. You have got to start with like 5 or 10 minutes, and then go for 15 to 20, then 20 to 30. But I think also, depending on what you're eating, I also walk a lot. I do a lot of walking, and I also run. And so my legs are constantly being used throughout the day. And so I think it's like that guy Sad Guru says. I don't know if anyone listens to Sad Guru, but he says, the more you use your body, the better it gets. It's one of those things where the more you use your body is something where the more often you use it, the more effective it will be and the better it'll be. So I think that if you want to get big calves or big muscles and stuff like that, you just gotta use them. Yeah, sure. I definitely understand where you're coming from on that. You know, it's it's all about, at the end of the day, I can't knock anybody for trying to go out there and legally try to make ends meet. So every person out there has a different story, They all have different things that motivate them. They all have different things that they need to do in different situations that cause them to make different decisions. And so when people go out there and they do something like develop, say they developed a rope, and then they you see the same thing on Alibaba, or to use Rush Athletics, somebody now, and say something like the most in demand speed rope or the most iconic speed rope out there, but then you find out that it's a rope that's being bought and then just having the label cheaply printed on it, then it comes off anyway. That does frustrate people, but everybody's got to figure out what works for them. And I don't agree with all of that. And I think that sometimes that might be, I think the jump rope community is getting so popular and growing to the point where you can start to talk about things like this, and they can act, and it's not such a small community where things like that aren't going to affect it anymore, because there are a lot of people that are in the community now. There's probably millions now. And so, yeah, if you're having people come into the jump rope community that have no idea and they've just started, then yeah, they might make a decision and buy something that maybe is not the best product for them, and you just that's just kind of the way it goes. But everyone's got to make their own decision. For me, I would never. Yeah, I hear you on the integrity. I would never do something like that, but you just have to. The market is efficient, if anything. So if it's becomes offensive and enough people take offense to it, the market will make the correction. That's what I always say. The market, if enough people are upset about it, then the market will take action. And markets are efficient. That's what I love about capitalism and about the markets, is that if something is really wrong, then it'll be dealt with. And so you just have to have faith in that. That's what I have faith in. Having gone to business school and all that, and learning about markets and things like that, is that the market is efficient and it takes care of people who maybe not be doing the right thing, and it rewards people in the end who are delivering value to their customers. It may not do it right away, but it does it in the long run. Pluto, how long can you jump rope nonstop? I think I've done about an hour before, and I wouldn't recommend trying to do that if you're just starting off. I had been jumping rope for a long time when I did that. But yeah, I think like 45 minutes to an hour. And it was, I mean, yeah, that's a long time. And you got to work your way up to that. So about an hour, I think. Yeah, I hear you, Caleb. The Rush Athletics rope it's got longer handles. So I think that as far as speed and everything like that, yeah, it might be a better option. It's just twice as expensive. But if you're looking for the same rope that Rush Athletics sells without the name on it, you can get it from the Rogue website. It's the exact same rope. You can just search for licorice rope on Rogue licorice rope, and yeah, you'll find it. Did you learn all the insane tricks in 2 years? Yeah, so as far as the tricks go, I think that I learned them probably within, well, I just learned the mic release a little while ago, and I just hadn't really paid much attention to that one. Not to say it's a bad move or anything. I just never focused on it. All the stuff like the double under, crossover, double under, kickback, all that stuff I learned within the first year. But I was practicing a lot on those tricks. So what you'll see is when you are doing anything and you're starting with anything, you're going to have, if you think about your progression as a curve, you're going to be like this. You're going to hit like a kind of a plateau. And that's where I'm at now, is that, yeah, you learn everything really quickly, but then you kind of plateau out. Everybody gets to that point. And so you'll learn everything real quickly. You'll be excited. You'll be practicing. And then you might get to a plateau because what you're doing is you're learning harder things. And learning harder things, it takes more time. So the easier tricks don't take as much time to learn in relation to the harder ones. At least that's been my experience. So I learned everything within the first, most of what I learned everything within the first year. I don't know if that's common or not, but I practiced a lot. Hey, Alejandro, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I think the same thing about Rush Athletics. I think that I don't think he's trying to rip anybody off or anything like that. I think he used to be, from what I understand, he used to be an accountant. And so he understands money, he understands markets, he obviously understands business. And so I mean, nobody knows what his cost structure is. No one knows how much he's buying his ropes for. No one knows that except for him and maybe the people who are close to him. And so I don't know, he might be getting the ropes for like $5 a piece. So he has to sell them where he's selling them at. Or maybe he's got some formula that he uses. But I do know that he understands money and understands business, obviously, being an accountant. I mean, I've been to business school, I've studied accounting, and I still use accounting every day for my own personal finances and all that. So, I mean, I understand it as well. I think you're right, Caleb. I don't think that he's going out trying to rip people off or anything like that. But what I do in my reviews is I just will talk about what I see and what I've seen, what I see as far as the rope being sold without his name on it for like $6 or $7, and then seeing his rope for like $17. And so that's really all I'm delivering. And then I'll just talk about how what I talk about is I think it might be a little bit expensive for what you get for it. But you're right. I don't think that anyone's trying to rip anybody off. People are just out here trying to take care of their families and all that. How do you avoid snapping your ropes? That's a good question. There's a lot of things you can do. Hanging them up, that helps. And if you live somewhere where it's really cold, like I do right now, it's snowing like crazy out right now, then you want to avoid using PVC ropes outside because they'll snap, they'll freeze over and snap, you know. And so those are the main things. And also a good quality rope. And also, if you don't have a great quality rope, not using it on concrete, using it on if you have a PVC rope, not using it on concrete, using it on a gym floor or a mat. So I would say those are the best ways. Yeah. Stretching routine, that's a good one. I think that I do the dynamic warm up. You can probably see it in a lot of my live videos. And then sitting in the squat is a good one. And also the butterfly stretch is a good one. I have a massage gun that a company sent me to review. That works. I use that probably 2 or 3 times a week. And so the massage gun, the butterfly stretch, the dynamic warm up, and sitting in the squat are all great exercises for stretching, great stretching exercises. Yeah, he sure did. Yeah. Well, you're right, Caleb. And I mean, businesses, yeah, no problem, Alejandro. Absolutely. So, yeah, this is a business at the end of the day. And yeah, I remember the ghost rope. It was, that was before I really understood what was happening as far as the markups and everything like that. But you got to think about it. So, I mean, you got to think about it this way. So McDonald's, they don't have the best hamburgers out there, but they sell the most hamburgers out of everybody because they understand marketing. And that's what it comes down to is understanding marketing, understanding what psychologically people will react to when you're trying to sell them a product. Calvin Singleton, great question. If you want to lose weight, is it better to use a lighter rope or a heavier rope? Well, that's a good question. I think that my initial answer would be a lighter rope because you may be able to jump for longer. So if you're using, let's say you have you have a cross rope, you have the 1 and 2 pound, and then you have the quarter pound and half pound. You're probably going to be able to jump for longer with the quarter pound and the half pound. And especially if you're trying to lean, get more lean, you should probably stick with the lighter ropes, but you can use both. But I think the lighter ropes are probably better because as far as it could, as far as I think about it, is a lot of people will probably disagree with this, but the way that I've lost weight over the years is by doing cardio, by burning more calories than I bring in, and also avoiding foods that are high in carbohydrates. But if you are able, so let's just say this, if you're able to jump for 3 minutes without stopping with the quarter pound rope, and you're only able to jump for 1 minute with the pound rope, then if you want to lose weight, you probably need to stick with doing sets of 3 minutes with that quarter pound rope. If that makes any sense to you. That's the way that I would go about it is by using a lighter rope because you just want to be moving. If you're trying to lose weight, if that's all you're trying to do, you just want to be burning calories and you have to watch what you're eating. You have to be careful about how many simple carbohydrates you're consuming. And then two, you have to be burning more calories than you're ingesting, than you're bringing in each day. That you can do that. You can exercise and do like a long run, that'll burn a lot more calories than doing sprints. But sprinting is effective and HIIT training is effective. So I hope that answered your question. I'd stick with the lighter ropes so that you can do more jumping so that your arms won't get tired as quickly. Hey, Johnson. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Johnson. Thanks for your support. Yeah, I don't, as far as the live stream, I don't know if more than one person can be on here, but that would be a good, I could probably do that on Zoom or something like that. That'd be a good one. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. I'm going to write that down. All right. Let's see. If you jump while listening to music, what do you like in the music you use? Yeah, I listen to music. Whenever I don't do a live workout, I put on music because if I put on music and it's on YouTube, then YouTube will not let me publish it for copyright reasons. So yeah, I listen to a lot of different types of music. The main music that I listen to these days is Eminem, probably. I think that's probably, I mean, I listened to Eminem a lot when I was in high school. That's when he was really big. Well, he still is pretty famous, but back when I was in high school, I mean, that's when he was at his peak. When I was in middle school and high school, that's when he first started coming out. And so Eminem, listened to him a lot. Also because I live in Detroit now, that Eminem is from here. So as soon as I got here, I think just because I live in Detroit now, and I just started listening to more Eminem, and it does remind me of back when I was in high school, and kind of gives me some good reminiscing. But also because his songs they do get me pretty hyped up, and I have a lot of respect for just his lyrical ability because I'm still into hip hop quite a bit, but I was really into hip hop when I was younger, when I was in high school and when I was in my early 20s. And so I understand that the rhyme structure and rhyme skills and everything like that. And so a lot of Eminem, Atmosphere. I listen to Atmosphere a lot. They're an underground hip hop group from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And yeah, Atmosphere. Jimi Hendrix, listen to a lot of Jimi Hendrix. Voodoo Child is probably my favorite. What else? Rage Against the Machine. I have that on my playlist. Trying to think. The Road to Perdition is one of my favorite movies. There's some Irish music on that soundtrack, the score by Thomas Newman that I like. So I it pretty much runs the gamut for me. I mean, even back, I'm trying to think of other things. Mobb Deep, another hip hop group from Queens, from New York City. I used to listen to them a lot when I was in high school, and their music I like listening to when I work out. Some of the music, it does have curse words in it. So, of course, I think everyone knows that Eminem doesn't have and he has some lyrics out there that might be offensive to some people. So, if you don't like listening to music that has explicit lyrics in it, then I would recommend finding the clean version or just staying away in general because there is quite a bit of cursing in Eminem's music and also with Mobb Deep's music, and I think with Atmosphere as well, just not as much. So I put that disclaimer out there. But that's what I grew up listening to, and it's just I don't use foul language myself, but it just doesn't really bother me very much to listen to music with it. So that's what I listen to. Did you also do boxing? No, I never did any boxing. Sometimes I wish I had, just because I think it would seem to me that it does teach a lot of confidence and teach you how to deal with getting hit and how to get back up after getting knocked down. But at this point in my life, I don't want to say I'm too old because I don't think you're ever too old to do anything, but I just don't think I have the time to put into to put into trying to pursue anything boxing related. But that's a great question though. I do like the I do like how hard boxers work. I think they're some of the greatest athletes on the planet. Them, MMA fighters, and swimmers, I think, are probably three of the best types of athletes on the planet. So I have a lot of respect for their work ethic and what they have to do to make weight and keep winning and stay relevant. My question is, how long should I do jump rope for great stamina for boxing? I'd say that I mean, so a boxing round is like 3 minutes long. So you may want to go a little bit higher than that, maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes, so that you can ensure that at least for 3 rounds you'll be able to jump rope and keep that footwork going like you would be doing if you were in a ring. I mean, that's not you're just jumping rope there. You're not getting hit in the stomach or the face or anything like that. But at least you know that you can continually move your feet and move your arms for 5 minutes without getting winded. 5 or 6 minutes. Calvin, glad it makes sense to you. That was a good question. I answered the music one. Yeah, the sizing is a little tricky. Yeah. What do you think about alcohol and jump rope? Hmm. I mean, I'll be the first to say that I do consume alcohol on the weekends. my wife and I will normally go to a brewery in the area and have like 2 or 3 beers, either one day or both days. So, I mean, I don't think that it has affected my physical ability at all. You just, like anything else, you just have to keep it in moderation. I mean, if you're drinking a 6 pack of beer every night, or you're having 5 or 6 drinks every night, I mean, that's going to be a lot worse than just having one beer or one whiskey or one glass of wine a night. So you just have to be moderate about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with drinking alcohol as long as you're not doing it in excess. And also as long as it's not getting in the way of you doing the things that you need to be doing in your life, whether that's taking care of your family or showing up on time to your job or anything like that, or if it's getting in the way of exercise, then yeah, I mean, anyone in that situation, you may want to just cut it down, and figure out what's best for you and how you can best manage and keep being productive. But yeah, that's a good question though. Hey, Tic Tac, thanks a lot. Not sure if you're still on here, but I appreciate the support. I'll do another live workout here soon. How do you start to jump after injury? I hurt my back, but it's better now. Yeah, I mean, I would say do your stretching, do some stretching, and just get back out there and don't try to go too hard. I mean, don't try to go in there and do anything, go too fast or anything. Just do some different moves if you can, see how it feels, and then just if it starts hurting and it starts hurting in the area that you injured before, then either take it light or stop for a break and keep thinking if you can keep going. But there's a real difference between being hurt and being injured, or being uncomfortable and being injured, right? If you're injured, you should stop. If you're just uncomfortable and you know your body, no one else knows your body. If you're just uncomfortable, then I would recommend trying to push through it. But if it starts triggering an old injury, then I would stop, stretch, put some ice on it, and try to go back out there the next day. Also, try to see a doctor, see what the doctor thinks. Calvin, since I am a beginner, what are the top 3 tricks you suggest working on? Yeah, that's a good question. I have a video about this as well on the channel, but I have a ton of videos, so it can be a little bit difficult to sift through. What I'll do is I'll get on my channel here and I'll answer the question on here, but I'll also send you the video also so that you'll have access to it. Let me see. I can't normally talk and type at the same time, but I'm trying to find the video for you, and I'll post that into the link or the description, and then where is that video? Okay, there it is. All right, let me get the video for you. Okay, Calvin, this is the video coming through right now. And so I would say that the first thing you want to do is you want to be able to actually jump on both feet, do the basic bounce. That's the first one. Once you're able to get that, once you can do 50 to 100 in a row, I always say 100 because that's what I've learned from Buddy Lee. 100 jumps in a row equals proficiency. Then I would recommend going to the boxer step, trying to do the boxer step. You want to do the boxer step because the boxer step, once you get it, is actually easier to do, and it's easier to do from an endurance standpoint because you're shifting from one foot to the other. So one foot is getting a rest, and then one foot is getting a rest and taking on the brunt of it. So whenever I do long jumps, I never use the basic bounce because I'm not using both my feet. I'm using the boxer step or the heel toe because it's giving one side of my body a rest for like a second, and then that part of my body gets the rest, and then the other side. So the boxer step, you definitely want to learn that. You want to learn, I think the other one in the video, I want to say it's the side swing. That's another one that you definitely want to learn because that helps you transition between other moves, and it gives you a good arm upper body workout as well. Okay. So those are the ones, and then the heel toe is another one. The heel toe is probably my favorite move for jumping for a long time because when you extend your leg like that, it's kind of like reclining on a sofa. It gives your one side of your body more rest. So check that video out, and then you should be able to get what you need from there, plus my answer. Yeah, that's a real difference between simple and complex carbohydrates. Knowing the difference between those is key to being able to lose weight. You want to stick with the complex carbs, stuff like vegetables, like you were saying, broccoli, sweet potato, even regular potatoes. Some people say regular potatoes are bad for you. I mean, yeah, they are if you get them from McDonald's or something like that, and they're fried in vegetable oil. But if you're just eating mashed potatoes with butter, salt, and pepper, and there's nothing terrible in it, then potatoes, I mean, they're not bad. They have a ton of fiber and a ton of vitamin C. So the main difference between a simple and a complex carb is a complex carb will have fiber as well, and which will slow down your digestive system and not make you as hungry. And it'll counteract the carbohydrate count in that food. But a simple carbohydrate is essentially a carbohydrate that has been stripped of any fiber. So white bread has been gone through a process where the fiber is extracted. So all you have is the carbohydrates, but you don't have the fiber. And that's what's going to cause, and that's going to increase your digestive system. And so if you've ever eaten candy before or something like that, I'm sure everyone's eaten candy. After you have a candy, you always want more because the carbs are being digested quickly in your system. And that's what fiber does, is it makes you less hungry. So that's the main difference between a simple and a complex carbohydrate. So vegetables, almost every vegetable is a complex carbohydrate because it's got fiber in it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I would be able to drink anything, drink any beers doing double unders. That would be difficult. Now, I usually do the jumping in the morning before I've eaten anything because I'll normally go like anywhere between 16 to 20, 22 or 24 hours without eating. Oh yeah, my wife just posted here. She makes the shirts so she can, if you, my wife that is Kara Avocado there, that's my wife there. She can make any shirts for people who want them. She made this right here. Yeah, Punk Rope, that was a good one. Tim Haft, great guy. He's always a pleasure to talk to. He does a lot of good in his community. I gotta unplug my phone here. I got a couple phones. Oh, thanks. That's my mom there supporting with the super chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm gonna stay on. I know I said I'd stay on till 12 only, but I'll stay on for another 15 minutes if you have any questions or anything like that. And then tomorrow is the day that I'll do a live workout tomorrow. So this is a good time to ask any questions that you have. I'd be glad to answer. All right, Alejandro, jump up to freedom. Thanks. Appreciate you tuning in. It was a pleasure to see you. Oh, I forgot to answer a question. Rudra, how long will it take to jump 45 minutes straight? Oh, I don't know. It might take a while, you know. It's hard to say. When I started jumping rope, I had already been in the army for 9 years or 10 years at that point. So I had a good baseline to start with from all the running I was doing. I wasn't in very good shape, and I probably couldn't have jumped for 45 minutes back then. But I don't know. It'll take a while. I mean, it just depends on who you are. My recommendation would be to it would be to just add a little bit of time on each day. You can do 15 minutes. Okay. You can probably do 20 if you can do 15. So maybe next week you go out and you do 20. And then if you can do 20, you can probably do 22. So then go out and do 22. Then if you can do 22, you can probably do 25. So you just increase like that and build your stamina. It also has a lot to do with the kind of rope you're using. If you use a lighter rope, you're going to be able to jump a lot longer without it. I mean, you might make mistakes because of the feedback, but if you're already an intermediate level or above jumper, the type of rope you use isn't really going to make a difference. So as far as tripping out goes, so just add a little bit on each day. That's how I approach being able to run fast. It's run my 2 miles fast is just adding just zero point 0.1 miles per hour each day I was running. And your body eventually gets used to it. Finally got the 180 and 360 side swing down. Yeah, great. Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, man, I appreciate it. You've been on the channel for a while, so thanks a lot. I'm glad the tutorial helped you. That's that's what the tutorials are there for. I forgot about the tutorial. All right, sure. Yeah, I'll put the website in here. I need to do better at keeping it updated. I got a lot of I don't get that much traffic on the website. Most of the traffic just goes to the YouTube channel and everything. But yeah, appreciate the support. All right. Good night. Have a good one, Rudra. Do you think we can spot some places of the body jumping rope, like leg and belly? Yeah, I'm trying to. What do you mean by that? I'm trying to figure out what you're asking. Do you mean during a live workout or something like that? Mm. I didn't even know Canelo was fighting tonight. I have to watch. Nah, probably not. I don't normally buy, do pay-per-view or anything like that. I'm not sure if that's on pay-per-view or not. Let me see. I do like Canelo though. Oh yeah, there's different ways you can work on different parts of the body. I mean, for to work on your abs, you can do high knees. I mean, as far as your legs go, you don't really need to do anything extra to work on your legs with jump rope. I mean, you're getting all the jump rope, you're getting all the exercise you need. Same with your abs too. Your abs are getting a ton of work. Your core is getting a ton of work. But if you want to work your core out more, doing high knees with jumping will definitely engage your core just a little bit more than normal. Yeah. I was looking up the Canelo. Oh, it's $69. Or you can get it, I think DAZN. You can get a subscription to DAZN for 20 a month. Now I would just wait till it comes out on YouTube. Somebody will stream it. DAZN or DAZN, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I mean, they have a ton of stuff. I follow them on YouTube. I mean, they have a ton of stuff. Last DAZN one I watched was I watched what was his name? Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. They did the fight and then they did a special about the fight. So that was a great fight, by the way. Pretty crazy that Anthony Joshua lost that one. I think he got overpowered. I don't think he took Andy Ruiz very seriously. Oh no, that's okay. Satisfaction. At least you're trying. And I couldn't understand it, but someone else did. So that was a great question. I appreciate it. All right, have a great day. Appreciate you tuning in. The round jump rope mat, I don't know. I haven't used it. I think that it might be a little restrictive, but I see a lot of people using that Crossroad round mat. I know that the Rush Athletics mat, the round one, I think people had a lot of problems with it. It broke real easy, but I don't think the Crossroad mat is like that. I think that it's made a little bit better, but I haven't used one before, so I don't really have an opinion on that because I haven't used it before. But it's a good question though. As far as Canelo goes, it's going to take Canelo to me seems like the Floyd Mayweather now, where it's almost impossible for anyone to beat him because there's no money in him getting beaten. I mean, I think Floyd Mayweather is a way better fighter than Canelo, but Canelo was a good fighter, but I definitely think he lost that first fight to Gennady Golovkin for sure. Shouldn't have been a draw. I think Gennady Golovkin beat him. The second one, I don't know. But the first one, I think he definitely lost that one. But there's not a lot of money in Canelo losing. So you have to, I think in order to beat Canelo, you have to knock him out. And I don't know if anybody's going to be able to knock him out. We'll see, though. I know that Smith he is undefeated. I think he's like 27-0. But we'll see. Yeah, Smith is a tall guy. I'm looking him up now. I never heard of him before. That might be a problem for Canelo, but Canelo did a good job against Kovalev. I mean, he knocked Kovalev out, and Kovalev is way taller than him. So, and he moved up. I think he moved up to light heavyweight to fight Kovalev, if I'm not mistaken. I wish he had fought Andre Ward though. I think Andre Ward would have beat Canelo. But that's not ever going to happen since Andre Ward retired. All right. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them. I'm gonna stay on for another minute. Then I got to get going for the day. Yeah, no problem. It's all about the footwear. Definitely got to protect your feet. It's good to pay a little bit more money for high quality shoes. So you're welcome, group. That's good to hear. I remember when I switched to Brooks, everything got better for me as far as knee pain and things of that nature. So that's really good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, it's 12:30. I got to get going. Thank you very much for tuning in and asking all your questions. I appreciate it. Again, if you want to win a copy of my ebook about intermittent fasting, all you have to do is you had to have asked a question here, and most people who came in did. And follow me on Instagram at Jump Rope Veteran. Follow me on Facebook, same handle, and then share the channel with your family and friends and ask them to subscribe. Once you do that, you can send me an email at jumpropebed@gmail.com or on one of the social media platforms with your email address, and I'll send you the book. Jumping barefoot. I've never done it before, but I think that people have done it. And I think as long as you're jumping on a surface that's not going to hurt your feet, I don't see a problem with it. But it's a good question, Brett. All right. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. It's been a great ride, and I'm looking forward to the channel continuing to grow. We'll do more of these once we reach more subscriber milestones and view milestones. So I just appreciate you supporting and for being here the entire time, and whenever you got here, for being here. And I'm having a lot of fun with this channel, and I'll continue posting as often as I can. Until next time, stay safe and stay healthy. Jump rope to freedom. Peace. Thanks for your support. Have a great day.